Okay, folks, Dave Parrish back here with another video for you. I'm going to get right into it. Today's topic: who is the actual owner of your Knack account, and avoid a problem. I'm going to tell you a quick story. It was 2 weeks ago. A new client came to me and said, "Hey, we lost our app. It was a CRM and project management app. It was pretty involved." They said, "We put our office manager," they've been using it for years, their office manager in charge of getting it put together. I think she built some, she hired some folks like me, but she put it in her own personal email account, and they were never aware of that. And then 2 weeks ago, she left on bad terms. I don't know all the circumstances, but since she had control of it, she locked them out of it and wouldn't let them get back in. And they hired me, and I'm doing a very quick rebuild of this, but they're running their whole business on this, and they're active right now without their system to manage everything. I'm going to tell you what the deal is with this topic and what the best practices are to avoid a problem like this. Thanks. Okay, back to this topic of account ownership. I'm going to throw in another quick story. A couple weeks ago, I was hired. It was some investment banking firm out east. They developed a CRM, and they had one of their internal people develop it, and he used his own email address. Now, he didn't leave on bad terms, but he did leave, and they hired me to sort of take over, maintain it, and further development. First thing I saw, hey, this is in this other guy's personal email account, man. You need to get this into something, ideally, that's your own domain, that you have control over it, because if something happens in terms of relationship, or if something happened to him and you didn't have access to the credentials, it can be a big problem. But let's look into this. The first thing in your account, you're going to go to account, you're at your dashboard, account, pretty clear, account owner info, name and email address. If you do have a change of person, make sure this is transitioned. It should, a lot of times you might start an app, you're just playing around. You create an account, maybe it's a trial, you move on, and then it starts developing, then all of a sudden something important, and it could have been lost, whose account this really was in. You can usually see the account name up top, but more important is this email. It's also important if you want to transfer an app to someone else, you need permission from the owner, which they establish as this email address. So the first thing is you need to make sure this is in likely your own domain, because you're going to have control over that. Second, let's jump to their terms of service. There's something, they establish who they are, and they call it the customer. And I went through this terms of service. They never really call it the owner. I don't know if, to me it's slightly unclear. I sent them an email, and I'll post it on here if I get a good response, of what's the difference between a customer and the owner, and then email address. And another thing here I saw through some other documentation, this I've seen a lot. In my career, several years, I've dealt with this a lot. The person who developed it, it's in a different email address. Now they're saying, hey, get the credentials, do a lost password, reset the password. Well, if it's not an email under your control, you're not going to get it. And then they mention this, which I found a little curious. If you're not able to reset the password, provide your credit card information, last 4 digits, expiration, security code, to establish that you're the account owner. That wording there seems to me that overrides this email address. I'm not sure if that's true. That's generally it. The important thing is, when you have an app that's critical to your business, that you've spent a lot of money on developing, make sure your domain, you have control of that. That's really important, so to avoid any of those potential problems. Thanks.